All right. Hello, everyone. My name is Ted Lawson. I'm the executive director here, and I want to welcome you all to the Patrick and Marcel Leahy Center for Lake Champlain, also known as ECHO, here on the shores of a truly great lake. This is a day that many of us have been anticipating for a long time. It marks not just one, but two important milestones to celebrate. The completion of ECHO's largest exhibit renovation to date, the Into the Lake Gallery, and the comeback of one of Lake Champlain's most important native species, the lake trout, a collaborative effort that's been remarkably underway for over 50 years. Moments like this, wins for science, education, and environmental stewardship, deserve to be celebrated. So thank you for being here to do just that. Shortly, we'll hear from a few key leaders in the work of the extraordinary story of the lake trout's recovery, an effort that reflects the very best of science, collaboration, and persistence. But first, I want to talk a little more about ECHO and our Into the Lake renovation and take a moment to share some deep gratitude. First and foremost, to Senator Patrick Leahy and Marcel Leahy, whose lifelong commitment to Vermont and to this lake have made today possible. The Senator and Marcel met on the shores of Lake Champlain. Their first dates happened on Lake Champlain, and together, they have been its greatest stewards ever since. Throughout his career in office, Senator Leahy secured over $300 million in federal funds to clean and conserve Lake Champlain. Meanwhile, Marcel championed research and public programs that helped to shape the lake's future. Together, their leadership helped establish the Lake Champlain Sea Grant, the Lake Champlain Basin Program, and the Patrick and Marcel Leahy Center for Lake Champlain. Senator and Marcel, we simply can't thank you enough. Next, I want to acknowledge Dr. Mark Gaden and the entire team at the Great Lakes Fisheries Commission, as well as their Lake Champlain team of Tom Berry and Janelle Hangen. The Great Lakes Fisheries Commission's ongoing support has meant so much to ECHO, to this region, and to the future of this critically important natural resource. Specifically, I want to thank you for your significant investment in the Into the Lake renovation, a commitment that reflects a deep understanding that education and stewardship go hand in hand. And also for your ongoing support in making ECHO accessible for all through our Open Door program. 1 out of every 5 visitors to ECHO comes here because of your support. Thank you. We're also grateful for our other lead supporters of the renovation, the National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration, the Niquette family, the Canada Family Charitable Trust, the Water Wheel Foundation, Lisa Schomburg and Pat Robbins, Lisa Steele, and Mascoma Bank. Thank you for believing in this vision and for helping bring it to life. To the ECHO board and staff, thank you for your leadership and dedication. The team here is truly amazing. This renovation was a big deal for our small museum. Essentially, our entire animal collection had to be moved off-site and into a warehouse a mile south of here so we could demo our original tanks and completely replace our aging aquarium plumbing. The Marcel is backing out of her berth right now. Steve Smith and our animal care team built life support systems using above-ground swimming pools and stock tanks to keep our animals safe, healthy, and happy. Remarkably, especially given Burlington's road construction over the last year, they had a 100% success rate in transferring the entire collection, a process that's not quite finished. You'll notice when you enter the gallery, we are still adding fish to the lake tank and the upper river, but I'm happy to report that just yesterday we welcomed back the first of our 3 big sturgeon, with more coming throughout the rest of the week. To Steve and the entire team, we are in awe of your dedication and expertise. Thank you. To Nina and our in-house exhibits team, Carolyn, Travis, Elliot, and Kai, thank you for leading the design and the fit out of the gallery through dozens and dozens of iterations. The results are just extraordinary. You totally nailed it. Thank you. Thanks also to the outstanding work of Bob Lord and the team at EF Wall, Sherry Libby and the team at SAS Architects, and to our partners at Roto for their contributions turning our vision into reality. Thanks to our partners at the Eco Resilience Games, the Jefferson Project at Lake George, and Rensselaer Polytechnic Institute for the World of Plankton exhibit. And finally, to the Echo community, our members, guests, partners, and neighbors at the UVM Rube Lab. Thank you for your patience over this past year. It has been challenging to be partly closed, and we're so grateful for your continued support and encouragement and good humor as we completed this project. As many of you know, the Burlington waterfront looked very different just a few decades ago. No bike path, no waterfront park, and no Echo. But in the past 25 years, this waterfront has become a truly special place. Inviting, vibrant, and accessible. And in that time, 3.5 million people, families, school groups, campers, and visitors have walked through Echo's doors to learn about this lake. Just imagine all those wide-eyed kids, all those sparked imaginations, and all those seeds of stewardship planted one visit at a time. Echo began as a dream shared by a few civic-minded visionaries and one amazing senator. Today, it is the cornerstone of this community and a key part of our future. Echo sits at the incredibly important intersection where science, research, and environmental stewardship meet joy, curiosity, play, and community. And this intersection matters deeply. When a child gets to see a lake trout face to face, or meet a 5-foot sturgeon, or imagine the journey to and from the Sargasso Sea in the Atlantic Ocean that every American eel in Lake Champlain makes, it can change how they see the world. This wonder leads to care, and care leads to action. At Echo, we believe that our future depends on these seeds of stewardship taking root. And that's what we are celebrating today, not just a new gallery, but a renewed investment in this important intersection. We estimate that over the next few decades, 5 million more visitors will pass through this space. And because of this renovation, they'll leave with a deeper understanding of Lake Champlain and a stronger sense of responsibility to protect it. Today's visitors will be tomorrow's scientists, researchers, innovators, teachers, and voters, who will carry the work of stewardship into the future for Lake Champlain, for Vermont, and for our planet. And now, it is my distinct honor and privilege to welcome to the podium the person whose vision and leadership helped make all of this possible, Senator Patrick Leahy.
Thank you, Ted. You know, when Ted was talking about the people who've been here and going through, I think of first our children, then our grandchildren going through, and going through, and going through, and going through, because it's always something new. So, and Ted, you're keeping Echo at the Leahy Center fresh and exciting. So I'm glad you're here. President Trump, it's nice to have you here. UVM has done a lot with this center, with students, scientists, others from there. It makes such a difference. And I couldn't help but think as the boat went out, there's something else about it. Remember the lake we're on? That boat flew the Vermont flag, the New York flag, the U.S. flag, and the Canadian flag. And for those of us who admire Canada, it was nice to see it. Besides, Marcel reminds me her parents came from Canada and she learned French before she did English. But the fish exhibit here, the recovery lake trout, as a fully self-sustaining population. Ted, when people said we might have trout self-sustaining, yeah, we're like, be nice. But it's worked. And when I remember we opened 2003, that seems like yesterday, but some doubted whether it could possibly sustain. I'm so pleased that it's thrived, it's been expanded. My friend Tom Berry is here, who comes by and tells me what's going on. But I'm also pleased that the Lake Champlain ecosystem has remained such a strong focus. And you see that in the fantastic new exhibit opening today. And so, Ted, I thank you, and I thank the entire ECHO team for that. It tells us why we have to protect this lake and why you can't just do it once and it's done forever. It's a constant lifetime thing to protect it. This is a jewel. This is something that anywhere in the world they'd hope to have, and we have to make sure it's done. I worked during my final year in the Senate with the Great Lakes Fisheries Commission and NOAA to help with the initial funding of this project. So Mark Gaden and GLFC, thank you for being here. And I also thank my successors in the Senate, Senator Welch, Senator Sanders, and Representative Ballant, because they didn't need any encouragement. They've joined on that. And it's nice to see members of Congress who actually care about things that happen in their states. I'll stop right at that. But success stories and progress are all too rare in the work to restore Lake Champlain. But the recovery of lake trout, that is a story for the ages. It's rare anywhere in the world for a large keystone species being fully restored, anywhere in the world. And it's been done here. Experts will speak after me. They'll tell you how it was achieved. But I got to tell you, it wasn't achieved overnight. It was achieved by an awful lot of work. A lot of people who cared, who worked so many years to control sea lamprey, improve the water quality, restore habitat, share. But when we teach my grandchildren, your children, the next generation, they can teach the next one and the next one and the next one. And we'll keep this great lake. So now let me introduce Dr. Mark Gaden, the Executive Secretary of the Great Lakes Fisheries Commission. Mark, come on up. You and GLFC contribute so much. You know, he even helped us get that boat named the
what is it here?
Marcel. Did you time it to have it sail?
Oh, yeah, we can do that.
Thank you all very much.
Okay,
Mark,
thank you, Senator.
you.
Appreciate that. Well, thank you very much, Senator, for that kind introduction, but really the thanks goes to you for decades of the work that you've done to restore and protect Lake Champlain. And we're just carrying the torch now for making sure that we continue to implement what you started here. And deeply honored to share the podium with you here at the Patrick and Marcel Leahy Center for Lake Champlain. And thank you for your immeasurable contributions to this amazing Great Lake that you have. It is a jewel in the region here. With your vision in Washington, Senator, the Great Lakes Fisheries Commission has been continuing to work here, which we started about 3 decades ago, first inspired, as you noted, by the sea lamprey problem, but really expanded now to focus on a lot of things, including fisheries and ecosystem restoration and education and the like that I'll talk a little bit about here. And we're pleased, of course, as you mentioned, and thankful for the Vermont and New York congressional delegations for their continued strong support for this work as well. This has allowed us, the Fishery Commission alone, to invest about $10 million annually in Lake Champlain fisheries and conservation, research, education, and infrastructure. And that's in addition then to the NOAA funds that are also there. So there's a lot of great work going on in the restoration and protection, looking decades into the future for Lake Champlain. We celebrate today the investments that these communities along Lake Champlain have made, including support for ECHO and the new exhibits that are being unveiled today. Ted, I think you said it quite well, that education and stewardship do go hand in hand, because there's no way we can expect stewardship going in the future without education like we have today. And the Great Lakes Fisheries Commission, using the funds that Mr. Leahy has secured, continues to support that work, because it is a vital step of what you're doing, and ECHO is a true gem. Everyone engaged in restoration of species like lake trout, everyone is in it for the long haul. It's a generational project. In 1962, the lake trout fishery of the Great Lakes, which was the keystone species, was closed. This species was the foundation for commercial fisheries in 20% of the world's fresh water, wiped out, changed a way of life in the region, and it's something that we're still dealing with today. Sea lampreys was primarily to blame, the main culprit, but there were other problems as well, pollution, overfishing and the like, but the sea lamprey was incredible, devastating, invasive species that our two Great Basins contend with. We had little science upon which in the 1960s to make decisions, and it allowed the management agencies basically to skirt the real hard work of actually managing these fisheries. Undeterred, the management agencies and researchers embarked on a restoration effort that continues to this day. It's a slow process. It relies on good management, stocking, and sea lamprey control, and science. Those are the pillars of how you slog your way through restoration efforts that are generational and take many years. Science that can be conducted in and shared between the Great Lakes and the Lake Champlain Basins. We always forget that the work that we're doing here is important in the Great Lakes Basin and vice versa. In fact, the scientists who are doing the work very often will do work in either one basin or the other, and it's very transferable. Here at the Rubenstein Lab with the University of Vermont, it's quite apparent that the scientists who are doing that work are contributing to large lakes restoration and also the fisheries that we share. There have been victories and setbacks in restoration, but the path is leading us toward success. In Lake Superior, for instance, the management agencies of the Lake Superior Committee just last year declared the species restored as fishery objectives had been met and sustained. Salmon, lake trout, sturgeon, and other species and this region's economy have all benefited from science, sea lamprey control, stocking, and good management. And of course, it would not have been possible without the funding. Partnerships are the foundation of this work, including our friends at the U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service who carry out lamprey control, for example, and habitat restoration, U.S. Geological Survey, of course, the managers from New York and the state of Vermont who are very skilled at what they do, and we're going to hear from them in a minute, and the research scientists here at UVM and also at SUNY. Our next speakers will tell this rare story of success, and a restoration story that we all can be proud of. And these are the stories that inspire the Great Lakes Fisheries Commission and the people of the Lake Champlain Basin to broaden and deepen the scope of the work that we do on Lake Champlain. And we forget as well Lake Menfor-Magog, which is part of the funding as well. So with that, I'm pleased to introduce Julie Moore, the Vermont Secretary of Natural Resources. She's been secretary for more than 8 years and deeply involved in protecting Lake Champlain for decades. And Julie's also a great friend and supporter of the Leahy Center, and thank you so much for being here. Yep.
Good afternoon, everyone. Clean water, and I think this probably goes without saying to this crowd, is both essential and fragile, and its protection requires a sustained, dedicated, and coordinated effort. The Lake Champlain and its watershed are an incredibly complex ecosystem. Waters reaching Lake Champlain drain from more than 8,000 square miles of land in 2 states and 2 nations. And while the work needed for clean water is large in purpose, it requires literally thousands of often modest projects and individual actions, making the impact of any single effort hard to discern. It's therefore all the more important to both create meaningful opportunities for folks to learn about steps they can take to help protect our natural environment and celebrate important wins when we are able. And today does both. There's a great saying from a Senegalese forestry engineer, Baba Diome, which Ted, I think, also paraphrased a little bit, but it's, we'll only conserve what we love, we will only love what we understand, and we will only understand what we are taught. And so while the primary goal of Vermont's stocking program is to provide fish for anglers, this work is also integral to ANR's larger environmental mission. Providing robust fishing opportunities engages Vermonters and visitors alike, adults and children, in the outdoors and in our environment, and helps them recognize how important fish and their habitats are and that we need to protect them. Trout need clean, cold, and free-flowing waters, and getting people to care about them means that they also care about the water and its condition. Increasing trout populations in Lake Champlain are a sign that our investments in reducing sediment and nutrient runoff, restoring wetlands and floodplains, and planting trees along streams are paying off and leading to a healthier aquatic environment. Similarly, ECHO allows anglers and landlovers alike the opportunity to peek into the depths of Lake Champlain, creating learning opportunities that highlight the importance of clean water and the unbelievable biodiversity beneath. Taken together, the effort to restore lake trout and the renovation of the Into the Lake exhibit both help grow our appreciation and love for our Great Lake. I'm immensely grateful to the team at the Vermont Department of Fish and Wildlife and our partners in New York, the U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service, the University of Vermont, the Great Lakes Fisheries Commission, the Lake Champlain Basin Program, our congressional delegation, past and present, and many other partners for their long-term commitment to Lake Champlain and to the ECHO Center, which in turn allows the incredible team here to create opportunities for many more people to experience the wonders of Lake Champlain. Today is particularly meaningful for me as the Secretary of Natural Resources, as someone who served on the ECHO board for many years, and as a self-declared clean water nerd. I'm just thrilled to be part of a celebration of things that help grow a love of place, which helps sustain the necessary and ongoing commitment to conservation and stewardship. And thank you for inviting me to be part of this celebration. It's my pleasure to introduce Eric Palmer, who's the Director of Fisheries at Vermont Fish and Wildlife.
Hello all. I'm going to repeat a theme that I think we've heard a number of times here about the partnerships that have led to some of the successes we're talking about today. And while I'm with Vermont Fish and Wildlife, I'm really here representing our cooperative efforts. The main cooperative has been with New York, DEC, and U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service, but there are quite a few other partners who have involved themselves in this success story. Looking at lake trout as the main success, but really these partnerships as the foundation for that. Going back to the 1970s, when New York, Vermont, and U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service created a plan for salmon restoration, and in the process created the Lake Champlain Fish and Wildlife Management Cooperative. Cooperation is what has defined our work. I could spend my whole time just naming the names of people who took part in this effort and would still probably miss half of them. Instead, I want to focus on our larger roles. The cooperation started with fish stocking and management. Fairly quickly, it grew to include sea lamprey control and intensive research, including UVM and the USGS Co-op unit, and significant help from Senator Leahy and the Great Lakes Fisheries Commission. This included pivotal funding and also the assistance of experts who have been coordinating sea lamprey control in the Great Lakes for decades and had literally written the book on how to do it. The restoration program had a lot of challenges, but through cooperation and strong partnerships, we were able to coordinate on stocking, develop a Lake Champlain lake trout brood line, turn the corner on getting sea lamprey under control, develop a number of good scientific assessment programs, and see some great success in creating an amazing fishery. By 2010, anglers told us it was the best fishing for lake trout and salmon they had ever seen in their lifetime on Lake Champlain. They said, these are the good old days. Then in 2015, Dr. Ellen Marsden let us know that she was seeing wild juvenile lake trout. I'll let her tell that story, but this was after about 50 years of continuous stocking. Yet in the next few years, we confirmed the increase in natural reproduction, came up with benchmarks to reduce stocking in 2020, cut stocking significantly in 2022 by about 50% in 2024, and ended stocking altogether this year. These rapid changes were based on planning, assessments, and good data, but could not have happened so quickly without the strong cooperation, shared vision, and trust of the people working on the project, from biologists and culturists to managers and directors. I often describe fish and wildlife conservation as planting sequoias. The work we do often extends beyond the scope of our careers, and we rely on others to continue the effort. It's really rewarding to be at a point in time when we can see some of the tangible signs of success, and I'm certain that future generations will continue this important work. And I'd like to introduce Dr. Ellen Marsden, Professor Emeritus, longstanding colleague, and talk about success. Thank you.
What can I say that hasn't already been said? This is all about collaboration, communication, cooperation, consensus, excuse me. The partners and the teams in this basin are absolutely unique. To come here as a researcher, as I did almost 30 years ago, and realize I could talk directly to managers, all of the managers, in the Fisheries Technical Committee meetings on a tri-annual basis, tell them what we were finding, ask them what they needed to know, pursue those leads, was absolutely incredible. And I'm seeing everybody around here. I'm seeing Vermont biologists we work with in the field that lend us equipment all the time, New York biologists. I'm seeing the hatchery people over here who provide us with incredible support and collaborate with us on papers. I'm seeing Margaret, the manager for Lake Champlain in Vermont. U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service, USGS, this is unique and amazing. Oh, and did I say New York? Right here. So I came here as a researcher playing with lake trout, and I saw this as a tractable lake. This is a lake where we can really look holistically at the entire lake to see what's happening. When I came here, nothing was known except they'd been stocking for 30 years and nothing was happening. So we started and said, well, are they reproducing? Is there good habitat out there? And the answer was yes. So by about 2000, we're saying, yeah, lots of baby lake trout, great. But no adults. What's happening? And as Eric alluded to, in 2015, we quite suddenly ran a trawl, it's a deep water net, and suddenly there are wild juvenile lake trout. Like, oh, wow, could we do that again? We did it again, and there they are. And because of Senator Leahy and the funding, the love he has for Lake Champlain, and therefore the funding he gave to the Great Lakes Fisheries Commission to use on Lake Champlain to help with restoration, initially the lamprey, and then research. We were able to jump on that story immediately. Instead of waiting the 1 to 2 to 3 years to get money to pursue that line of research, we immediately began monitoring juvenile lake trout. And then again, back to the hatchery, we were able to ask questions like, wait a minute, which genetic strains of lake trout are reproducing? Kevin, can you give us an idea of how you stock and give us samples of fish so we can do a genetic study on this? This is this collaboration, communication, and consensus. So after a number of years, we realized there were going to be a lot of adult lake trout out there, communicate with the technical committee and like, "Oh, should we worry about too many mouths out there?" And so we sort of went the next step. What do we do about worrying about adults? So we go to Bernie with the state and say, or actually it was Bernie who came to us and said, maybe we should start doing some state assessment for the adults. And so Bernie has been assessing the adults for 6 years? And yep, there are adult wild lake trout steadily increasing. And the anglers, this is where echo and communication comes in, communicating with the public so that the anglers aren't going, what do you mean you're considering cutting stocking? They're going, wow, wild lake trout, this is awesome. They're on board. And there's always a few naysayers, but by and large, the communication is superb. And then, as Eric said, this spring, the last stocking was done. We're done with stocking. Unless anything bad happens, the teams are already always making sure that everything's okay. We can always go back if we had to. But in fact, we're restored here, and as the previous speakers have said, this is unique in the annals, not just the success story, but how quickly it happened with such excellent communication between all the parties. So it's been an amazing privilege to work here, and I really appreciate all of you. It's lovely to see all of you here celebrating this moment. It's truly a team effort, and thank you. I'd like to reintroduce Ted Lawson, our new director. Cheers.
I'm watching this shadow line creep this way, and pretty soon the podium's going to be fully in the sun. So I think it's time for us to head inside for the official ribbon cutting. We have a family, membership family here who's going to help us with that. I'm hoping that Senator and Marcel are also able to join us for that. So perhaps we'll give the Senator and Marcel a head start here to get inside towards the gallery, and then after a minute or two, the rest of us can fill the area around the bubble tower. We'll cut the ribbon and explore the new space. Thank you again, everyone, for being here today.
Thank you, Ray.
That was such a great presentation.
I will. Now you
Yes, exactly. You did all the good stuff. I saw you whack the champagne on the boat. Great. You did a great job. I don't think so. You ready? I would recommend getting it as far in as possible. Ready? Whenever you're ready. You got it in one. All right, can we go in? All right. I know you're not going to get sick. You can go on recording. Please, get on in. Come on, that's time.
Turns out it was solid sugar. Wait, it was a champagne pot. I wasn't sure you had to go. I did. Just want to see where we ended up and then. Did you guys have your time? Very good.
That's the big tank. Tough question. I don't have an answer to it. It's reproduced. Probably this time might.
They constantly broadcast one in the Tug SOC, but it's taken a really long time to figure out even where they go, let alone what they actually do once they get there. Yeah, yields are very mysterious.
Hi Tom, how are you? Nice to see you. Thanks for coming. Yes. Congratulations.
name is Shannon Kane. I'm the animal care manager here at Leahy Center for Lake Champlain, and this is one of our new exhibits. We're currently working on doing some water parameter changes in this system, so it's not quite done yet, but eventually this is going to be a snapping turtle exhibit where she's going to get the opportunity to swim around this entire space, and it'll have driftwood in there for her to come up and bask on, and we're very excited to get to showcase such a cool species in a new exhibit like this. It's going to be really awesome for them. So this is one of the exhibits that I'm particularly excited to brag about a little bit. So this one's been here for a long time. We've actually been doing this program since 2006. This is our Baby Turtle Head Start program, and it's a partnership with Fish and Wildlife to conserve a threatened species. So the spiny softshell turtle only has about 300 breeding adults left in Lake Champlain, and our goal with this program is to raise the babies that they bring us from just about the size, a little bit bigger than a quarter, to something that's not going to be bite-sized for a potential predator to just swallow whole. So the whole goal is to get more of these baby turtles surviving all the way to adulthood so that we have a better recruitment rate, which means that the population will be more stable. Because anytime you have a population of animals out there, you need at least 500 animals to be a stable population. Ideally, you'd have a lot more than that, but the fact that they're under 500 means especially that this species needs some conservation work, so we're really excited to be working with Fish and Wildlife on this project. We have currently released a total of 445 baby turtles from this program, and we also do an additional program with them where we help incubate any nests that need a little bit of time before they're ready to go back out into the wild. When they're doing their nest site, when they're doing the nest site surveys, they will sometimes find compromised nests, and so they really might need us to take care of those babies for just a little bit while they're not ready, and then eventually they're going to go back out. They're going to give them back to Fish and Wildlife so that they can go back to the lake right away. So today we just added these new baby brook trout. I believe they're in their par stage, and I can tell that because of the stripes on the side. So these little babies just came from Roxbury Hatchery from Fish and Wildlife's collection. So we're really excited that we have these little guys here, brand new to the tank today. Very excited to see them here.